One of the beautiful aspects of Ramadan is قيام الليل في الجماع في المسجد. يعني making قيام الليل in a congregation in the masjid. We call that Taraweeh. Right? The word Taraweeh will not be in the matan of any hadith. Yani Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't call it Taraweeh. Sahaba did not call it Taraweeh. In the generations after them, this name came. Nothing wrong with the name. Yani the name is not a big deal. But this action of making Qiyam al-Layl in Jama' in Ramadan was done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was done by the Sahaba during the Khilafah of Abu Bakr radiyallahu and Umar radiyallahu and Uthman radiyallahu and Ali radiyallahu and Hassan and later after that, and it continues till our time. Tayyib. In Sahih Bukhari, we see that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Ramadan came out to make Qiyam al-Layl, and the Sahaba they joined him. And they made Salah, Qiyam al-Layl in Jama'. They prayed what we call Taraweeh. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed Taraweeh. Tayyib? In al-Bukhari. Then the next night he did it as well. And one of the rawayat the third night, and then the fourth night, and one of the rawayat the third night, he did not come out. The people waited, he did not come out. And the next day he explained why. Not that there was anything wrong with what was being done. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself explained. He said, I wanted to show you that this is not fard. We didn't want that people make it an obligation. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it every night in Jama'ah, people would have started to say, oh, it's fard. Just like witr, people say, oh, it's wajib. Even though it's not wajib. Ali radiyan clarified this very clearly. But to make it clear that this is not an obligation, and this is not us trying to deduce that from the hadith. He ﷺ said it. I didn't want it to become fard on you. Okay? So Rasulullah ﷺ prayed Taraweeh. Qiyam al-Layl fi al-Jama' fi Ramadan. Okay? Not only that, he encouraged us to pray it. He said the one who prays behind the Imam until he finishes in Ramadan, in Qiyam al-Layl, and who can finish, then Allah will forgive their sins. So qawlan and fi'lan. And he ﷺ saw the Sahaba join behind him and he approved it, so iqraran. For every which way, Taraweeh is sunnah. It is sunnah. Tayyib, how many rak'at did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam pray it? Very clear from Aisha radhiyallahu anha. May Allah give her the highest places in Jannat al-Firdaus al-Ala. And what a great service she did for the Ummah. In al-Bukhari, she said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not make more than 11 rak'at for Ramadan, in Ramadan or outside of it. Very clear. Some people say, no, this is Qiyam and this is... She made it very clear. How much clearer can it be? I mean, this is the wisdom of Aisha radhiyallahu anha. And it's in al-Bukhari, there's no doubt to the authenticity. Some say, no, there was Taraweeh and then Rasulullah prayed another 11 rak'at. Say, where is the hadith for that? Did she say he made 20 and then made 11? No. She said very clearly. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made 11. Tayyib, there are some riwayat for 13. But that's including the 2, that is the sunan of Isha. Yep, so this is, but the regular tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Ramadan and outside of Ramadan is 11 rak'at. He prayed Isha, he prayed the 2 sunan of Isha, and whatever else nawafil. Then for Qiyam al-Layl, when he would wake up in the later part of the night, he would then pray 2, make taslim, 2, taslim, take a break, 2, taslim, 2, taslim, take a break, 2, taslim, and 1. How many is that? 11. Okay, my math, alright? Okay, good. Tayyib, this is the way of Rasulullah in Taraweeh or regularly for tahajjud in Qiyam al-Layl. During the lifetime of Rasulullah this happened. When the Sahaba prayed behind Rasulullah they prayed 11 rak'at in Ramadan in what we call Taraweeh. During the Khilafah of Abu Bakr radiyallahu, from what we find from the ahadith, that this continued but separately. Meaning that in the time of Rasulullah, he came out ﷺ, so people prayed behind him. In the Khilafah of Abu Bakr radiyallahu, they would have somebody who's a qari, he would come and people would join him, and somebody else maybe came later and people would join him, and somebody else came and they would join him. In the time of Rasulullah sallam was only one, right? By the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, this is only 2 years, a lot of things going on at that time. During the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu, in the Muwatta Imam Malik, he also made 11 rak'at. He put Tamim al-Dari and Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhuma to be the Qurra, to switch up, and they would lead and they would make 11 rak'at. This is in the Muwatta Imam Malik. In the same book, Muwatta Imam Malik, in a later hadith, he also made 23 rak'at. And 20 rak'at and then the Shafa Witr. Sanadan, the 11 rak'at hadith is stronger, but they're both authentic. And if you look at the hadith of 20 rak'at, it's not one riwayah, there are many riwayat. And this is something that Imam Malik and then other A'imma and Ulama clarified. They said in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Abu Bakr radiyan, and Umar radiyan, the Qiyam al-Layl in Ramadan, which we call Taraweeh, was very long. They would start and they would pray till close to the time of suhoor. Imagine here, if we go over 2 hours, people start rioting, But imagine they paid it all the way close to suhoor. So imagine that in 11 rak'at. How long are those rak'at? We know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and sometimes in one rak'ah he would read Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran and Surah Al-Ma'idah and Nisa, out of switching order as well. But so many long, so many ajza, not even one juz or two juz in one rak'ah. So it became difficult for people. People got tired, older people, women, children. So Umar radiallahu anhu, knowing what is the sunnah is, Salatul Layl, mathna, mathna. Rasulullah didn't tell us Salatul Layl is 11 rak'at or 20 or 30. No, he said the night prayer is 2 by 2. Meaning you can do more or less. So Umar radiallahu anhu, seeing this situation, he made it where there were more breaks. So people could rest. Shorter standings. Right? So if you wanted to dip out for a few rak'at, you could. Right? No problem with that. Right? If you just wanted to have a little rest before you join the next rak'ah, you have that time. You're not standing straight for so long. So he made 20. And nobody objected to this. From the Sahaba and Madahib al-Arba', there was no objection to this. Till our time. In the Haram, they still make 20. So what does that mean? If somebody sees the situation and people are able to make the Taraweeh in 11 rak'at, alhamdulillah. Very good. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it, Abu Bakr radiyan did it, Umar radiyan did it, the Sahaba did not object to it, and afterwards many of the ulama, they including Shaykh al-Islam Taqiyuddin ibn Taymiyyah and others, they said there is jawaz, no problem with it. At the same time, if an imam in a masjid sees his jama'ah and he says, they are not able to stand long, we're going to make it 20 rak'at. No problem with that. If you increase or decrease from that, no problem, because this is not tawqifan. Rasulullah didn't tell us you have to make these amount of rak'at. So if somebody makes 20, alhamdulillah, no problem with that. If somebody can do 11, that's even better. Alhamdulillah, no problem with that. This is Qiyamul Layl. Everybody clear about Taraweeh now? There is no special dhikr between Taraweeh. Some of the masajid, they have a little post-it and they have it and they get a mic and they make some special, there is no such thing. It is not from the sunnah that you have to give a dars between the 4 rak'at. If you feel tartiban, that the most people are there and you can reach them and you give some kind of a reminder, nothing wrong with it. But it's not an ibadah in and of itself. The Taraweeh, when it is done, it should be done with proper recitation. It's not something, if you do 20 rak'at in 20 minutes, you are not getting the point of Taraweeh. This is something you're supposed to enjoy with proper makharij, listening to the Quran, benefiting from it. You don't have to finish the Quran in Taraweeh. But it's something good, because all of us should try to read the whole Quran in Ramadan. Many people are not able to, so at least in Taraweeh they can hear the whole Quran, but it's not something that has to be done. This is some of the ahkam of Taraweeh. Taraweeh can be prayed right after Isha until Fajr. Why? Because that's the time of Qiyamul Layl. Tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl, all the same thing. Some people say, no, one is when you sleep and one. No dalil for that. No dalil. You can get into linguistics, but there is no dalil for it. طيب? So if you pray your Taraweeh right after Isha, because that's the most convenient for everybody, Alhamdulillah. If you pray your Taraweeh in the middle of the night, Alhamdulillah. If you pray right before Fajr, Alhamdulillah. If you pray a little bit in the beginning of the night and you do more later, Alhamdulillah. But to increase it in the last 10 nights is Sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to increase his ibadah in the last 10 nights. But a bid'ah that has come in our time, as Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen and Shaykh Albani have pointed out, that's a bid'ah, is to separate between Taraweeh and Qiyamul Layl. They say, we have Taraweeh, in the last 10 nights, we're also going to have Qiyamul Layl. What does that mean? Taraweeh is Qiyamul Layl. Right? So, what does that mean? For example here, we will be making, inshallah, if Shaykh Abdul Qadir decides, 11 raka'at every night. In the last 10 nights of Ramadan, we will also have brothers come again in the last part of the night to increase their ibadah, but this is all one salah. This is all one salah. Whether you call it Qiyamul Layl or Taraweeh, it's up to you. The only caveat here is, if you make your witr, then you cannot repeat your witr. So if you're going to make 20 raka'at and then pray your shaf and witr, and then you want to make another 10 raka'at, you can. But you will not repeat your witr. If you plan on making extra Qiyamul Layl, then don't pray your witr in the early time, pray it in the last of it. If you didn't plan on it, you prayed witr, you went to sleep, but you woke up, you want to make more salah, you can. But you will not then repeat your witr, because there is no two witr in one night. Okay?